Welcome back everyone to Actual English. My name is Jennifer Clyde. It is time for lesson 72 and let's move on with our favorite something topic. Let's talk about favorite animals, for instance. We did talk about pets that we have animals we have as pets, but you can also talk about just your favorite animal. Now, if someone were to ask me what my favorite animal is, I would probably say, I love animals, so I've got more to mention than one, but I love lions, for example, because when I look at a lion, they look so fierce, yet very calm, peaceful, and very cozy. Also, one of my favorite animals is cows. I love cows. Of course, not beef-wise, not food-wise, but I'm talking about the actual cow. When I drive by farms, for example, or the countryside, and I see cows, I almost always stop by to at least sit and just watch them. I think cows have beautiful eyes, for instance, very peaceful eyes, very innocent and pure eyes. Anyhow, well, animals, they are a treasure to human beings indeed. You can go to circuses and see them do tricks. They give us thrill and a lot of excitement and much more. So yes, animals are a treasure to us. Now, think about your favorite animal as we begin today's actual talk.
So Joanne, are you an animal person? Did you grow up with animals?
I like animals, but I never grew up with a pet. So, I wouldn't go so far as to call myself an animal person. But I do care about nature.
And do you have a favorite animal?
A favorite animal? This is funny because I come from Australia and I used to have what I called a pet magpie in my backyard. I'd have the same magpie come to the backyard every single day at a certain hour. And we named it Maggie.
How original.
Yeah. And we had a kookaburra sitting on the fence every now and then as well. And that was interesting. But favorite animal? I think puppies.
Puppies.
They're
Most
cute.
people love puppies.
Yeah.
And kittens.
And
Are you
kittens.
a dog person or a cat person?
I used to be a dog person, but ever since coming to Korea, I don't know why, lots of people around me have been, they have cats.
Well, there's less space, I think, in your house, and no big yard for dogs to run around. And
That might be the reason.
I grew up with a big yard, and we had two big dogs and two cats. So I'm a little bit of both.
So, if you had to choose, which way would you?
I can't say. I would say that for my boys, I think they need dogs to play with, and they're more fun, especially for kids. Cats are more
they're more independent.
independent and less interactive.
Oh, I see.
They're intelligent though.
So you think that having a puppy would be beneficial for children?
Oh God, yes. It develops responsibility, empathy, things like that. Yeah.
Responsibility, so you have your children take care of the pets. I see. So they have chores like feeding it at a certain time. I see.
Okay, did you think about your favorite animal? What is your favorite animal? Or what are your favorite animals if you have more than one? Actually, I did some research on the net and they say that the most loved animals of the moment, not for many, many years, but at the moment or of the moment are number 1, wolf, and then comes a tiger. There's also the fox, polar bear, panda, panther, cheetah. And then moving on down the list is at number 13, dog. Although a lot of people do have dogs as pets, of course, dogs are animals as well, so a dog can be your favorite animal as well. Now, Peter and Joanne, what did they mention? I've realized that obviously they are not big animal lovers. They're not animal people. So Joanne did mention that her favorite animal would have to be perhaps a puppy, which grows to be a dog someday, right? Let's take a look at what they mentioned in today's actual talk conversation then. All right. Now, Peter begins by asking, so Joanne, did you grow up with animals. We have seen this expression many, many times so far, so I'm sure you are familiar with this pattern. Did you grow up with? Did you grow up with, okay, animals? Meaning, did you have a lot of animals around you when you were growing up? Okay, and then Joanne says, I like animals. Okay, she is fond of animals, but I never grew up with a pet, meaning she never had a pet. So I wouldn't call myself an animal person. Now, I did mention this word earlier, perhaps like a minute ago. An animal person is, as you may know by now, a person that likes animals. But Joanne says, I wouldn't call myself an animal person. I wouldn't describe myself as an animal person. I wouldn't say that I am an animal person. We'll practice that pattern later on, okay? Simply put, she's saying, I don't really, have a passion for animals. I don't love animals, but I do like animals. Now, Peter says, do you have a favorite animal? A favorite animal, and she thinks, and then she says, this is funny, okay, because I used to have what I called a pet magpie in my backyard. Now, let's break it up though. In the beginning of the sentence, she mentions, I used to have, meaning she once did, but not anymore. So she is talking about her past experience, perhaps when she was a lot younger, right? What I called a pet. So she's saying it wasn't exactly a pet, but I called it a pet. It was a magpie, okay? A magpie in Korean is 까치, okay, in my backyard. So there was a magpie in her backyard and she thought of it or called it her pet magpie. Okay, and Peter says, oh, he does not quite understand. You may have reacted the same way. And then she tells us, I had the same magpie come to the backyard every single day. Okay, you can say every day, of course, but single here is used to emphasize, to stress that it came every day, okay, every single day. So the magpie, the 까치, it flew to her backyard every single day at a certain hour, okay, at a certain time. And we named it Maggie. You can name a person or a thing something. So she's saying we named it Maggie, meaning perhaps her family gave it a name and they called the bird Maggie. Anyhow, Peter says, how original. You are familiar with the word original. I think maybe the simplest way to give you an example of the word original and its definition is this. Is that bag an original or an imitation or a copy, as we say? Or is it a fake? Original means real, genuine, right? But if it's used like this, how original, how original. It means that it is fresh and new, okay? Quite unique. It's unusual in a good way. Wow, how original. Anyhow, Joanne says, yeah, but a favorite animal. She brings it up, makes it into a question, meaning she's thinking. And then she says, I think puppies. And once again, she brings it up. So although she says puppies, she's not quite sure if puppies are her favorite animal. So she says, I think maybe puppies? They could be my favorite animal. And then Peter says puppies. Okay, most people love puppies and kittens. Okay, baby cats, right? And then he asks, are you a dog person or a cat person? We are familiar with these phrases or expressions. She says, I used to be, once again, in the past, not anymore, a dog person. But ever since, okay, since a certain time until now, okay, that is ever since. Ever since coming to Korea, I don't know why, but lots of people around me have cats. It's true. I think more and more people these days have cats. Of course, a greater number of people have dogs as pets, but many more people these days have cats as pets as well. Okay, let's move on. Peter says, well, he explains why he thinks more people these days have cats as pets. There's less space in your house, meaning there's not that much space. There's not enough space in your house. There's no big yard for dogs to run around in. Okay, these may be reasons why people have cats or many more cats these days. And then she says, that might be the reason. That could be the reason, or they could be the reasons, for instance. Now, Peter tells us about himself. We already know this about him. We've talked about this a while back. But he says, I grew up with, meaning he spent a lot of his time growing up with a big yard. So he had a big yard, and they had 2 big dogs and 2 cats. Okay, so I'm a little bit of both. What does both here mean, though? Okay, remember, he asked the question, are you a cat person or a dog person? And then Joanne answered that question. And then Peter says, well, as for me, I am a little bit of both, meaning I'm a little bit of a cat person and a dog person. So I like cats and I like dogs as well. Okay, and then let's move on. Now he says, for my boys, he's talking about his twin sons, his twin boys, I think they need dogs to play with. And he says, of course, they're more fun. We're talking about dogs, especially for kids. And then he moves on to talk about cats, okay? Now, cats are more independent. They can do things on their own. They don't need people around them all the time, as much as dogs do. And he says, and they are less interactive. They interact less with people compared to dogs, okay? Now, if you say that somebody or something is interactive, it means to have a close relation or be in close relation with another person, okay? Anyhow, Joanne says, so you think that having a puppy would be beneficial? This means advantageous or even helpful for children. And he answers, oh God, yes. Now, oh God, yes? Okay. That is just a way of emphasizing once again, oh, absolutely. Oh God, yes. And he says it develops responsibility. We talked about this as well. And empathy and things like that. And then she says, so you'll have your children take care of them. Them, once again, we're talking about dogs or cats, whichever kinds of pets he decides to get his sons. But of course, he did mention if he had to choose between cats and dogs, he would get a dog or dogs for his 2 little boys. Okay, now the conversation wasn't necessarily focused on favorite animals, but they did touch upon that, and they ended up talking about perhaps pets, having dogs as pets. Let's take a listen one more time.
So Joanne, are you an animal person? Did you grow up with animals?
I like animals, but I never grew up with a pet. So, I mean, I wouldn't go so far as to call myself an animal person. Mm-hmm. But I do care about nature. And
do you have a favorite animal?
A favorite animal? This is funny because I come from Australia and I used to have what I called a pet magpie in my backyard. Oh. I'd have the same magpie come to the backyard every single day at a certain hour. And we named it Maggie.
How original.
Yeah. And we had a kookaburra sitting on the fence every now and then as well. And that was interesting. But favorite animal, I think puppies.
Puppies.
They're
Most
cute.
people love puppies.
Yeah.
And kittens.
And
Are you
kittens.
a dog person or a cat person?
I used to be a dog person. But ever since coming to Korea, I don't know why, lots of people around me have been, they have cats.
Well, there's less space, I think, in your house, and no big yard for dogs to run around. And
that might be the reason.
I grew up with a big yard, and we had 2 big dogs and 2 cats. So I'm a little bit of both.
So, if you had to choose, which way would you?
I can't say. I would say that for my boys, I think they need dogs to play with, and they're more fun, especially for kids. Cats are more
Oh, they're more independent.
independent and less interactive.
Oh, I see.
They're intelligent though.
So you think that having a puppy would be beneficial for children?
Oh God, yes. It develops responsibility, empathy, things like
Empathy.
that. Yeah.
Responsibility, so you have your children take care of the pets. I see. So they have chores like feeding it at a certain time. I see.
Welcome back. Today's actual talk wasn't too difficult, was it? Okay, well then, relax everyone, and let's take you to actual expressions. As always, we've got some vocab words for you, and we also have some very useful patterns ready for you afterwards. Let's take a look at 3 words. The first is original. I did give you an example, right? Think of an original and a copy, or, that's right, as we say it, artificial, or like an imitation of something, right? But in today's case, we were talking about a very fresh idea, a very new idea or concept, something very original. So synonyms for original in today's conversation would be closer to new, fresh, inventive, novel, meaning very nice. Okay, we talked about how cats are interactive. Stress goes right here. Cats are less interactive compared to dogs. Some synonyms are given and taken. That's right. Talked about having or being in close relation, right? So it's about giving and taking, okay? Two-sided, for example. So given and taken, and two-sided. What about beneficial? Beneficial, right here, stress, means helpful and advantageous. Simple. Okay, these words aren't too difficult. Let's now take you to today's patterns. Okay, the first pattern is call oneself something. You can add a type of person. In today's conversation, now Joanne mentioned something about how she wouldn't call herself an animal person, right? Okay, so basically it means to identify oneself as something or to describe yourself or oneself as something as well. Some sample sentences. Okay, here we go. I would, okay, definitely call myself what? An optimist. Okay, so this is a little, I guess, a difficult way of saying I am an optimist. I am an optimist. So try saying I would definitely call myself an optimist. You can take out definitely if it's too difficult. I would call myself an optimist. One more time. I would call myself an optimist. Simply put, I am an optimist. One more. I wouldn't call myself a mean person. Okay. Since we have wouldn't in the negative form, you are saying that you are not a mean person. A very easy way of saying this is, I am not a mean person. Okay, even better, let's try this. I wouldn't call myself a mean person. I wouldn't call myself a mean person. I would call myself a nice person, a kind person. Okay? Okay, moving on to our next pattern. Name something, something, or name a person something. You can have a baby and name it something. You can bring home a pet and name it something. 이름을 지어주다. 이름을 주다. Okay, for example, my mom and I named our dog Carly. That's my dog's name, actually. So my mom and I, we decided on a name for her. So my mom and I, or we named our dog Carly. Okay? What about this one? I'm going to, let's talk about your plans, your future plans. I'm going to name my baby, what? Ina, if it is a girl, and Ian, if it is a boy. Okay? So you can talk about this as well. I'm going to name something. I'm going to name my baby something, okay? Practice this pattern more on your own as well. And here we have one final pattern. Now, ever since plus point in time, you're talking about a certain time or even incident. Ever since means what? From then until now. From a time in the past until now. 지금까지예요. 이어진 거예요. So, ever since then or since then, from that time on, from then on, I think before I speak. Adults often tell us, parents often tell us, don't just spit out what you think. Don't speak, okay? Think first and then speak. I think I've heard this a lot too. So, in that case, you can say, ever since then, meaning ever since I made a mistake. I think before I speak. What about this one? Ever since I had bibimbap, okay, ever since you're talking about a past experience, I had bibimbap, I have loved Korean food. Ever since that experience, ever since that incident, ever since I had bibimbap, I've loved Korean food. Korean food is delicious. Okay, everyone, that is a wrap for today's actual expressions. Practice them more on your own.
Well, I have a cat back home. His name is Hermes. He's a really big cat. He's not fat. He's just big cat. And I used to have 3 other cats, and one of them is really interesting. Her name, she's a girl. So her name is Junsu. About TVXQ, Shia Junsu. I like him so much, so I named my cat over him. So she was really cute cat though, and I have 3 males and a cat. And Hermes is the last one. He's a really big one. He's fluffy, and I miss him so much. He's really active and a little bit aggressive, but he's really cute. So my favorite animal is cats.
Thanks to Do once again for helping us out with this segment. It's time for actual story. So, of course, we've asked her about her favorite animal. What did she mention? Now, she took it gradually and then mentioned her favorite animal at the very end of her story. So let's check it out together. Here we go. She mentions something about having a cat. I have a cat. Where? Back home. What does that mean? Is she talking about her home in Korea? No. Back home, usually, if it's used together, you are most likely talking about your home country. Okay? So, 고향이란 뜻이죠. I have a cat back home, in my home country. His name is Hermes, or they named her, or she named him. Hermes would be another way of putting this. I used to have, not anymore, 3 other cats. Okay, what else? I like Shia, is that Shia Junsu, right? Of 동방신기 or TVXQ so much. So, I named my cat after him. Name something or name someone after someone means to have or give somebody the same name as someone. So, for example, if let's say your grandfather's name is Tom, and you get married and you have a child, or your father's name is Tom, and you want to name your baby after your father or your grandfather, it means you would give him the same name as your father and grandfather. So you could say, I named my baby Tom, okay? I named my baby after my father. His name is also Tom. Anyhow, so I like Shia Junsu of TVXQ so much that, or so much so, I named my cat after him. Meaning the cat's name is also Junsu, right? Hermes is really big and fluffy. Okay, big is easy. What about fluffy? Fluffy is, if you're talking about an animal, it means that it is very furry. Okay, it's very cozy, very furry. We can talk about fluffy pillows, fluffy blankets, 폭신폭신한, 털이 많은. Okay? And I miss him so much. And then moving on to our final sentence. There we go. Favorite animal. She says, my favorite animal is the cat. Always remember, I did mention this in the past, but when you want to talk about your favorite animal, always say, my favorite animal is. My favorite pet is the cat, the dog, the lion, the turtle, the hamster, for example. Always use the and not a. Okay, job well done, everyone.
Well, I have a cat back home. His name is Hermes. He's a really big cat. He's not fat. He's just big cat. And I used to have 3 other cats, and one of them is really interesting. Her name, she's a girl. So her name is Junsu. About TVXQ, Shia Junsu. I like him so much, so I named my cat over him. So she was really cute cat though, and I have 3 males and a cat. And Hermes is the last one. He's really big one. He's fluffy, and I miss him so much. He's really active and a little bit aggressive, but he's really cute. So my favorite animal is cats.
Now time is up, everyone, and that is a wrap for today's lesson. Hope you had a good time with me and learned a lot. So we talked about favorite animals today. We are going to move on and talk more about our favorite, whatever it is. But the next time somebody asks you about your favorite animal, of course, you can talk about your favorite animal as a pet. If not, try to be more creative. Talk about animals such as the ox, for example, hippopotamus, the crocodile, alligator, things like that, okay? All right. Try to make your conversations much more interesting. Add some spice to it. Next time we'll be back and we'll talk about favorite music. So in the meantime, think about what your favorite type of music is. Come to our homepage at www.ebse.co.kr and you know what to do. Look for Actual English with Jennifer. In the meantime, take care. I'll see you again next time. Bye, everyone.